Hi, would you love to take a look at a town in Montana that has a population of less than 4,700 people? Well, that's according to the 2020 census. Probably isn't much bigger, but it's a very interesting place because it's home to actually, well, second home, third home, fourth home to billionaires, and it's a wonderful little enclave in the Bitterroot Valley, and it's called Hamilton, Montana. So if you want to take a look at downtown Hamilton, stay with us on this video. We're going to take a look at it. And what's more is we're going to talk about some of the history of the buildings there in Hamilton. And welcome back if you're a subscriber to the Montana Real Estate channel. I'm Craig Siphers, and I work with my third-generation realtor daughter, Erica. And our family's been helping folks move into and around the state of Montana since 1966. We hope you enjoy this quick little video about Hamilton. And if you ever need to get a hold of us with respect to real estate, all the information that you need is in the description below. So whether you're thinking about doing it in 3 months or 3 years, please, we'd like to be a resource for you. So let's jump right in to our video on Hamilton. So this is going to be our route. It's going to be headed west on what's either called East Main, Marcus Street, or State Highway 269. These are the ballparks. And this is a subdivision called the Arbors. We're going to go by that. We'll talk a little bit about it. Now we're looking north from Marcus Street, or Highway 269, East Side Highway, across to the ball fields and the Bronx football stadium. We've got a few condominiums here on the right-hand side. As we get a little further down, this is the Arbors subdivision, and it was done in the late 2000s. And these are quarter-acre lots that are on city water and sewer, and the homes run in size from about 1,400 square foot to just over 2,000 square feet. And the pricing is somewhere between 400 and 600,000 typically. And then as we get a little further down towards the west end of Marcus Street, we'll get into some business district. There's a little music store there and a few little cottage businesses, salons, etc. that are on the street here just before we head into Main Street itself, although this sometimes is called East Main. And we have a milling operation there for animal feed, Lake Milling. And then we come to the railroad tracks. Now, the railroad does not run any longer down the valley. That was primarily for timber production in the South Valley near Darby, Connor, and in that area. And of course, as we look here at the intersection of State Highway 269 and Highway 93, US Highway 93, that runs from Canada down to Mexico. And that to the north is Missoula, about 50 miles or so. And to the south there, you can see that is where Darby and the South Valley is, and then on into Idaho. And then we'll talk a little bit about this segment of Main Street on the north side, just on the east end of Maine. So we're just going to drive down west on Main Street, hopefully trying to stay off the sidewalks, as you can see here. And then we're going to stop here. We're going to go back up to the edge of the river. We're going to come across the river. We're going to see a beautiful home that sits on the river, tell you a little story about that. Then we're going to continue our trip down. We're taking a little bit of a detour down here at the hospital. We're going to head down like we're going to the emergency room. Going to swing around there. I'll come back out, go back down the street there on Westwood, and then there's the Justice Center for the city of Hamilton. Then they're going to head on down Main Street and stay off the sidewalks. So we'll do a deep dive on the north side of Main Street, and so we'll come back to these and talk a little bit about these structures and the history of this part of town. We'll come down here almost 2 blocks to what's known as the O'Hare Building, and then after the O'Hare Building we have the Paperclip, the Valley Republic, established in 1889, a title company a bookstore, and across the street we have the H.O. Bell Ford Company. It's kind of a retrograde, old-fashioned auto dealership there. And then we've got the post offices. You can see there's very few people on the streets. It's a Sunday. Right here we have the historic creamery transformed into an office building. According to the official record, that structure was built in 1930. And so we'll go down the street here. We'll be able to see some of the residential areas. Some of it's been turned into businesses here on the west end of Main Street. And so we'll go back up at the river and come back down, coming across the Bitterroot River, looking south. Wonderful view. You can see the trees have dropped their leaves, many of them. And right here, this was the area where we had the Riverbend Athletic Complex. It burned down. Now there's a commercial building and this wonderful home that you see here. Now that home sits on 20 acres and it goes across the river. The home was built in 2010 and features 3 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and just over 5,000 square feet. And so as we travel down, you can see these little cottage businesses, and we want to be a resource for you and answer questions and tell you about the real estate in these markets, specifically the Bitterroot Valley. Please reach out to us, leave us a comment, tell us what you think, tell us what communities you think we should be going into next. We really want to be a valuable resource for you, and we can't stress that enough. And we spent a lot of time in the Bitterroot Valley. We grew up here. Now we're going to take our promised detour here, going north up to Marcus Daly Memorial Hospital. Marcus Daly Hospital opened to the public in 1931, and today it employs over 650 caregivers and is home to 13 clinics, in addition to the flagship hospital right here in Hamilton. And recently Marcus Daly, about 2021, became Bitterroot Health. And they've got 2 new, very nice new facilities in Stevensville and Darby. And you can find a Bitterroot Health clinic in pretty much every one of the little small towns scattered in the Bitterroot Valley. So healthcare is so important. And we did feature Marcus Daly Memorial Hospital and the old historic Marcus Daly Hospital on our Hamilton video that really highlights the neighborhoods around Hamilton. So this is the emergency area. There also is a walk-in clinic here. All very important elements of healthcare that you can find right here in your local community of Hamilton. And of course, if you need other more specialized treatment, then you have Missoula just 50 miles to the north. And then of course, Seattle and Spokane are not that far away either for health purposes. So we'll move out of here and head back down Main Street. Before we do, leave our campus here at Marcus Daly. We're going to be going down Westwood, and this is the new Justice Center for the town of, or the city of Hamilton, and a few other businesses along Main Street here. And you'll find that Hamilton, it's just about an hour's away from Missoula, but much of what you need is right here. Now, your other elements that you might be looking forward to, say, for example, your big box stores such as Walmart, Kmart, are in Missoula. So it's not that terribly far to drive if you needed to stock up on a lot of product. And here you see some newer homes that are scattered here. They're residential on the south side of Main Street. And we're going to get down here. We're going to talk a little bit about the history and a little bit about the structures and the real estate that's associated with these commercial buildings here in Hamilton. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of downtown, I really want to encourage you to comment about what you're seeing. Tell us what you think. We really want to provide great content for you. We believe that we're doing that with real estate, giving you not only about the real estate, price points, neighborhoods, but also talking about the culture of the area, the lifestyle, the landscape, the landmarks. We want to get out and kind of show you around the area. For example, we've got our video on some of the trailheads here in the Bitterroot Valley. And so let's talk about some of the historical buildings that we're coming into in the middle of the downtown. We're going to slow it down here a little bit so we can talk about some of these buildings. We've got a law office over there that was built in the 40s, in the late 30s, River Rising. This large, like purplish building was built in about 1930. And the building at the end of the block that we're coming up on here was built in 1900, and it houses the Big Creek Coffee Roasters. And on the other corner, that big white building that you see is the Banque Club. That's spelled Banque Club. And it used to actually be a bank, and it was built in 1895. And then when we get down, there's a tiny little thin building between the Banque Club and the next building. There's a tiny little building, and then there's a bigger building, and that's called the Stone Cottage Building, and it was built in 1906. And then a little bit further past the Bitterroot Drug on the main, as they say, is that large building at the end of the block is the Bauer Building, which was built in 1936. Now, I firmly believe that growing up in a particular market gives you real insight to the real estate. You know, we do a fair bit of commercial real estate, but our mainstay is residential, and it's certain that longevity in the market, there can be extreme benefits to our clients. And my daughter, Erica, is a millennial, and she was raised in not only these communities, but also in the business. She also has degrees in accounting and finance. These attributes really help her with her desire to help her contemporary clients. She's a little shy about getting in front of the camera, but she knows what she's doing. So we would love to have you reach out to us, and particularly to Erica. We're here to give you at the Montana Real Estate Channel first-class legendary service, 3 generations deep, and we would love it if you would subscribe to the Montana Real Estate Channel. And we bring a certain amount of intensity to the real estate game, and we've been at this for quite a while as a family, certainly, and we try to express that to our viewers and subscribers. We generally love helping folks find a place in Montana, their place. And if they're moving in from out of state, we still want to welcome them. And hopefully they share our values and enjoy our lifestyle and the culture that we've experienced growing up and living in Montana. In our case, Erica's family has been here for 3 generations on her father's side, and for, I believe, 5 generations on her mother's side. And we recently had somebody scolded us for being carpetbaggers. And I guess having my parents born in Montana over 100 years ago makes them carpetbaggers. I don't think so. But we want you to reach out to us and use us as a resource. We want to share Montana with you, and we've got a lot of information to share. There's a lot of experience just within my own lifetime of near 40 years in the business. And of course, I learned things from my father. And we go back, of course, as we say, Siphers Family since 1966. Now let's do a deep dive on a walking tour of approximately a block and a half on the north side of Main Street, west of US Highway 93. This is the first Security Bank building that we just saw, and that's a modern structure, mid-century modern, as it was built in 1953. And then we see these older structures that were built anywhere from 1905, 1910, and they have their row houses. They have apartments above them with retail down below. This is Ford's department store. It was actually pretty new. It was built in 1947. And so you can get your clothes, your shoes, and whatnot all there at Ford's. And just across the street from Ford's is a relatively new renovation there. That was a structure that was built in 1900, and it houses Knapp's, which is a spectacular burger place, literally world-renowned. And then there are a number of other buildings here in this area that were built in about from 1900 to 1906, 1910. Again, you're going to see that you're going to find living quarters above some of these particular structures. And one of the older ones is the O'Hare office complex that's on the National Register of Historic Places. And the O'Hare was built in 1900. Well, we hope you've enjoyed this quick video of downtown Hamilton, Montana. And remember, if you have some questions about real estate anywhere in the state of Montana, please reach out to us. All the information is in the description down below. And we would like to help you find your little paradise in Montana, whether it's in the Bitterroot, up in the Gallatin, up in the Flathead. At Siphers Family Real Estate, we've been helping folks since 1966. Hey, thanks for watching the Montana Real Estate Channel, and we'll see you on the next video.